Today we have the 2019 Lexus RX 350L. It's Lexus's bread and butter SUV, but in long form, and it's safe, quiet, comfortable, exactly what you're looking for in a luxury SUV like this. I'm gonna give you a full detailed review and test drive. Let's get started. Thank you everyone so much for tuning in for this 2019 Lexus RX 350L review. So new for this year, or at least new for the RX-L, is that it's 4.3 inches longer, and a lot of you have probably seen that and seen the regular RX. So let's get started on a quick exterior look. We've got LED daytime running lights and LED headlights standard, but we have the optional triple beam LED headlights right here, and these things are definitely pretty bright, but I've actually found that they seem to sit a little bit low. We also have LED fog lights, as typical signature L right there below the headlights as well. Same goes with Lexus's big spindle grille. I personally prefer the look of the F-Sport grille, but Lexus's grills have definitely grown on me. I don't care if they're a large grille or not. I think that the vehicle looks pretty sharp from up front. Like I said, the headlights seem to sit a little low with their line. They are adaptive, so they do adjust. And we do have cornering lamps, which make a really big difference at night when you turn the wheel or use your blinker, slow down. And even in reverse, you've got lights to the side of the vehicle, and they're extremely helpful. This color is called Autumn Shimmer. It is scratch resistant and self-restoring. It's kind of a brownish, purpley, interesting looking color. It's definitely, it's got some flake to it as well. It's a unique color, and I'd love to know what you guys think. When it comes to the wheels, Lexus gives us three different options. We've got these 20-inch wheels. They're 20-inch no matter what, just different styles and different looks to them. The mirrors on our RX are power folding, auto dimming on both sides, which is really nice. And then optional, surprisingly optional, is the blind spot monitoring, which we do have. And of course, you've got your turn signal in there as well. I'll show you Lexus's smart key system in a little bit. One thing about this design is that I definitely think that they should have kind of redone it from the ground up instead of just stretching the vehicle. They still have that floating roof design, and I actually had someone tell me that they think it looks like a hearse. The regular RX 350 I think looks much better. This L just looks like it's just a little too, you know, kind of an afterthought. But then when we get to the back, we've got the same L-themed taillights with the LED taillights and LED turn signals. That looks nice. There's a sensor behind that L emblem for the power liftgate that I'll show you, and we even have a $265 tow package for a tranny, engine oil cooler, and a heavy-duty radiator. The RX gives us the Lexus Safety System Plus standard. That'll give us pre-collision with pedestrian detection, full speed dynamic radar cruise control, automatic high beams, lane departure alert, steering assist, and lane keep assist. And then optional on our trim, we have the blind spot monitor, front and rear parking sonar, and the panoramic view monitor that I'll show you in a little bit. As you'd expect with a luxury SUV, you've got the optional $200, let's try that, there it goes. Anyways, there's a sensor back here. It's a $200 power hands-free liftgate. Otherwise, it's just normal power. And you can adjust this. Right now, it's on setting 4 of 5. I'm 5'9". Well, in my head hits it right there, but you can make it a little bit taller or shorter so you don't have to reach up as much. Let me show you the rest. Now, getting behind the third row, there's actually more space behind this third row than you might expect, and that's the biggest advantage of this over the regular RX. 16.3 behind the third row instead of 18.4 behind the second row in the other RX, and then 23 cubic feet behind the second row in the L version, and up to 58.5 cubic feet with all of the seats folded down. So I've got a golf club right here, as you can see, a carry-on suitcase right there. So even with that seat there, you can still get a decent amount of luggage behind there. Lexus brings you the first aid kit. You've got a hook over here. You can put a cover right there. 12-volt power outlet. You've got a tie down over here. Cargo light up there. Another cargo light there. So this is a well-lit area. The good news is you can power fold these third row seats. Fold them up and down. It does take a little while to do that, so that is one thing. And now that I've got that down, you've got a really nice flat load floor right there, so that can be very handy. Not a super tall ceiling, but a flat load floor. Our model came with the tonneau cover right here, and then you've got your jack kit under here as well. There's no power option to fold down the second row, which is something I would expect in a vehicle like this. But let me show you. I've got this seat actually all the way up. There's a little lever under there. And with that all the way up, it just doesn't work like that. If I move the seat all the way back, then it can lower down, but there really isn't a lot of clearance, but then you still get a nice flat load floor right here. The Lexus RX key fob is just like that of other Lexuses. You've got a solid build quality. It is very slim. You can pull a physical key out and metal trim right here. It fits into my pocket very well. And I've always liked Toyota and Lexus's system to where they have a sensor behind the door. Makes it easy, you don't have to push a button. And then a little spot for you to touch the door. Mirrors will fold, blink, and then it's locked. Another thing is that you have illuminated door handles at night and an illuminated scuff plate with Lexus emblem on there, and it looks really nice when you get into the vehicle. One thing though is that there's no remote start on the key fob. You can only do that with the Inform remote app, which is it's a smart system, but you only get it complimentary for 1 year, then you have to pay for it. The first thing about comfort in the RX is that it's at a perfect height to just slide right in. And second, I go on about a 2,000 mile round trip every year, and I would love to have this thing. It is so comfortable. This thing is definitely built for road trips. Now, right after you get in and you start it up, you've got the seat and the steering wheel, so you've got the entry exit set up, and you can adjust that, but makes it also another way to make it really easy to get in here. And sitting here at 5'9", I never have any height problems in a vehicle, and even when I pull this sunroof down, I've still got pretty good space above my head. These seats are very soft and plush. There's not really a whole lot of bolstering around the thighs at all, but there's some bolstering around your body, and they're perforated. In our particular trim, we've got the semi-aniline leather, which makes this 12-way heated and ventilated, and our luxury package gives them 3-position memory for the wheel, the mirrors, and the seat. Overall, these seats are just really comfortable, and I have no complaints about them. There's thigh support, there's 4-way lumbar support. The only thing that could be added is there's just no massaging function, and some vehicles in this class and price range have a little bit more adjustability. Now, taking a look at the interior of the Lexus, we have nice soft material up above, nice trim piece below that, our 3-position memory setting on the door here. This is all soft touch over here. It's a soft armrest, soft upper right there. And even this storage bin right here can be pulled out, so my tall bottle can fit there. Otherwise, you can push it back in and store some stuff down there. There's a decent area here if you want to store a phone or something like that. And it's got a pretty nice solid door slam. And once we get inside the Lexus, it's definitely not the most modern looking in terms of, some other Lexuses or some other luxury vehicles, but it is still fairly practical for what it is. It's got some nice materials. Everything is laid out pretty well. The steering wheel is heated on our trim. We have leather here. Otherwise, you get the trim above and below, and I personally would just prefer leather because this is the only portion that is heated. So this is pretty darn cold in the winter time. Otherwise, no complaints with it. We've got good steering wheel controls. All the buttons feel of high quality. Cruise control, lane keep assist, stereo controls, all that good stuff. Right over there, we've got automatic high beams. You can open up the rear door. You can control your head-up display, the heated steering wheel, and the panoramic view button that I will show you in a second. All the materials up on the dash are also of high quality. Everything feels pretty nice up there. You've even got some stitching running across there. Let's go ahead and start it up. Foot on the brake, push the button. When we look at the instrument cluster, we've got 2 physical gauges on each side, and then you've got this display in the middle. And for a luxury vehicle, this is a small display. I was definitely expecting more, especially considering even some Toyotas have larger displays. But it shows you the information that you need. You can scroll through this with the touchpad on the steering wheel, and it gives you pretty much everything that you need. You've got your trip computer here, any vehicle information. You can see where the power is going for the rear wheels as well, or all the wheels as well. You've got your navigation on here, a compass. You've got your radio, your stations that you see right there, the lane keep assist, radar cruise control, that sort of stuff will monitor right there. And then just like other Lexuses and Toyotas, any messages if you need service, and you can customize things, even your head-up display right here. Our head-up display is clear. It is fairly large. There's not really anything that you can change with it. You can move it up and down, but it shows you what you need to, your lanes, your speed, your direction, and what gear you're in. Typically, the RX will come with an 8-inch screen, but we have the optional 12.3-inch screen that comes with the 15-speaker Mark Levinson sound system, which is optional as well. On the screen, you can have a split screen like this. You can alter what is even over here. You can have fuel economy, you can have your navigation, your audio, whatever you want. And then you can scroll through all this with the little scrolling pad down by your hand, but it's a little finicky to use. You definitely get used to it, but it's easy to overshoot things. There's a lot that you can customize. Still no Apple CarPlay or Android Auto on here, however. That is one thing to keep in mind. Other Lexuses for 2019 have gotten this. Other Lexuses for 2019 have gotten Apple CarPlay, and Android Auto will be on its way, so stay tuned for that. The Mark Levinson sound system is very good. You still get a premium sound system if you do not have that, but let's take a listen to the Mark Levinson system. When we put it in reverse, our backup camera shows up with our surround view camera. You do have dynamic lines, of course, and let me show you more of the surround view camera. Here's the surround view camera. You can even get a panoramic look like that. So if you're parking between spaces or between vehicles, it can be very helpful. And of course, like you saw, you can have that while you are actually moving and have it automatically turn on if you want to. Below we have the signature clock in the dash, just like every other Lexus. Large air vents, and it's worked very well. We've got up front dual zone, but technically tri-zone because we have it in the back as well. You and your passenger, the buttons work well, everything is easy to use. The volume and tuning knob are metal and crisp and feel good to use as well. Our start button right there. Gated shifter from Lexus. You have a brake hold, automatic emergency brake or parking brake. You can have that on automatic or you can manually engage it. Up there is a little storage bin for, phone or whatever. It is not a wireless charging pad, however, but you can stuff stuff under there, and there's ambient lighting there as well. And then our climate controls for our seats, you can even have those on automatic, and they've worked very well for me. Lexus definitely goes into detail with their materials. You can see the trim piece that we have right here, even the lines running through it. A 12-volt power outlet is over there. My big bottle does fit in here. These cup holders are accommodating. They can grip smaller things and accommodate larger things. Here's our little pad for our system. For our radio, you have an enter button on the sides. You can move this pad around, and it does give you some feedback, so it's not just freely moving. Quick to the map, quick to the menu, back arrow, and then you still have some real buttons up here as well, and even a CD player. Lexus also gives us a drive mode button, Eco, Normal, and then Sport. And you'll get Sport Plus with the F Sport models. You can even lock your center coupling right there, so you've got 50-50 power to each wheel. Turn off your traction control. All you have to do is turn the knob, and then it will turn red up there and up there. Comfort is definitely not lacking. The ergonomics here is good. You can just rest your hand on here and it is very soft. This armrest is also soft, very cushioned. There's enough space for the passenger. Open that up. We've got a 12-volt power outlet, 2 USB ports. There's actually a light in here as well, a couple lights. So it's very well lit up at night, which can be very helpful. Lexus also gives us a locking glove box, soft opening and nicely lined, and it's actually pretty good size. As we look up above, we have your regular automatic dimming and home controls. We've got a sunglass holder still, LED lights that are touch sensitive and they are quite bright. Regular sunroof right here. There's no panoramic moonroof option. You just have the regular size. And then these are illuminated, of course. You can pull the entire visor out instead of the little clips. So you've got a decent range of motion with that. And then the visibility in the RX is not very good, especially on this RX 350L. You can see just how massive that area is back there. The back window is kind of small, but you do have blind spot monitoring. You do have that window next to that pillar. The actual back window is a decent size, so not terrible, but not as good as probably the regular RX. The RX also gives you LED illuminated ambient lighting, which is very relaxing at night. This whole cabin looks nice, not to mention that laser cut wood trim with aluminum trim inside as well. The back seat is also a comfortable place to be. Sitting behind myself at 5'9", I've got good knee space. I don't really have a lot of foot space, that's the thing, but we still have a fairly low floor and decent thigh support here, so my knees aren't way up in my chest. And sitting up tall, I again have no problems with headroom and have a couple inches to spare. Let me show you the rest. On the door, we still have nice materials up here, a nice lining and armrest as well, just like the front. Good grab handle. We've even got these sunshades on both sides, so you can lock those up, and they come with the vehicle, so that's really nice. There's a good bottle holder down there. Give you a view of my knee space, which is great, but just not a lot of foot space. Of course, we have AC vents back here. Our seats are also heated with 3-tier. There's a small storage bin down there and a 12-volt power outlet, but there's actually no USB ports back there, which is really surprising. Next to my seat and the other seat, since we have the captain's chairs, which are $400 upgrade, we have cup holders next to us right here on each side. Plus, we get a folding ratcheting armrest, so you can have it down, you can have it up. No problems with that. And then there's a center pass-through, which can make it a little bit easier to get into the third row if you want, or slide some items through. I'm just gonna do this handheld because there's really not enough space for you to actually see me very well. So you could pull that, and then you actually have to kind of push the seat forward, but that gives you a little bit of space right here, or you could try to climb through the middle. But when I climb back here, wow. Okay, one thing to note is that this pillar right here, since this door is actually cut like that, just like the regular RX, that thing can get you right in the back. So not a very big opening to get in, especially right through here. But now that I'm in the third row, before I tell you how tight it is, we have vents and controls back here as well, which is fantastic. Except these controls should actually probably be in the second row instead of the third row. But now that I'm here, I'm gonna try to slide this seat back. And, okay, well, my knees are up against it. I'm actually kind of holding them out of the way, and my head is right up against the ceiling. I feel like I've got to really bend over, so I definitely don't fit at 5'9". This is definitely a very tight third row. Small children, and that might even be difficult for them. But hey, if you do actually get somebody back here, you've even got a cup holder in the middle. Ah, that's no bueno. Under the hood of the RX is probably exactly what a lot of you are gonna want in a vehicle like this. It's smooth, it's non-turbo, it's a 3.5 liter V6 with Toyota Lexus's D4S technology, so it's direct and port injected. This engine right here in the RX 350L is gonna give you 290 horsepower, 263 pound-feet of torque. Both of those numbers a little bit lower than the regular one because we don't have the same exhaust due to the longer body on here. Every model is going to come with an 8-speed automatic transmission, and you'll get 18 in the city, 25 on the highway with this all-wheel drive model, 19 and 26 with front-wheel drive, and the all-wheel drive can put up to 50% to the rear wheels. My first impression of hopping into this Lexus RX is that it's an isolation chamber. I mean, it's comfortable, it's quiet, it's smooth. You forget pretty much everything that's going on around you, especially at night when you've got the nice ambient lighting in here and the big screen. I mean, it's just a really nice place to be. This vehicle isn't made to be sporty or to be fast. Well, let's get a little acceleration run here. Pedal down. It took a second there for this transmission to want to downshift and get going, which is something that I've found to be somewhat common with this, but that's what you have a sport mode for. So just put it in sport mode. It did not tick up the RPMs right away, but definitely more responsive, as you could tell with that. And that wasn't even full throttle, so it's ready to drop it down when you have it in sport mode. But otherwise, it's been a little bit, this transmission has been very smooth. However, it just takes a little bit for it to want to kick down sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes. The handling in here is good for most vehicles and better than the Highlander from what I can remember, but it's not quite the status of some of the other luxury brands. It's a little bit behind in that way, but it's built for comfort. In this thing, there's no sloppiness. It's not anything that makes you feel like you're out of control by any means at all. It's just comfortable. It's just a comfortable steering, and that's exactly what you want. It's got a little bit of weight to it, but it's not a heavy steering. It's still fairly easy to spin it around when you're maneuvering in a parking lot or something like that. And after the handling, the ride comfort is just excellent. I haven't driven the two-row RX 350, but the wheelbase between this and that is the same, so the ride comfort's probably the same. This is a little bit heavier, so that could make this a little bit softer, but it's very soft, it's very smooth. Nothing really rumbles in here at all. I mean, you can hit expansion joints, you can hit potholes, anything like that, and it just soaks them up really well. The braking in here is a little bit on the softer side. You can feel the weight of the vehicle, that's one thing, but I haven't had any trouble getting stopped, and it's not hard to guess with the pedal. I'm just getting on a gravel road here, and you still feel like you're in an isolation chamber. I'm sure you guys can't really hear anything. This is actually kind of matted down, so it's not that rough, but it's still quiet, it's comfortable. I could road trip in this thing all day long and be comfortable. I just wish we had massaging seats. I'm surprised that we don't have those, but I guess. And this all-wheel drive system, it can put 50% to the rear wheels when you lock it. So it's a front-wheel drive bias system. I have kind of tried to push it a little bit around some corners. I don't feel like I'm getting that torque vectoring type feel that you can get in some vehicles, but it does just fine, and I've been on some slippery situations and haven't had any trouble. Another thing about being on a rough road like this is I always take decibel ratings when I can on the same road surfaces, a smooth one and a rougher one, and both of them were pretty quiet. It was a little bit louder than I expected on a rougher textured road, but I've had no rattles. It's not loud by any means, it's just a little bit more than I expected, and it's just quiet and comfortable. I can't say that enough. Now with all-wheel drive, just in regular mode, I think the transmission and engine, the powertrain combination is just perfect for this vehicle. I wouldn't be surprised to see a turbo in here eventually, but I'm glad that Toyota went with the naturally aspirated engine. I love this 3.5 V6. It puts out enough power. You even get a little bit more with the RX 350 two-row version because of the exhaust that you got here, and it's enough for me. I mean, I never really need more power. Like I said, you can put it in sport mode, and it was a little bit more delayed that time, but it'll give you some more power when you need it. You even have an eco mode if you really want to. In conclusion, I just love the comfort of this thing. It's quiet. It's exactly what you might look for in a luxury SUV. However, I would not get this 350L version. I think it looks goofy. I would rather go for the two-row. If you need the space, look at something else, or even consider the Toyota Highlander. If you're a Toyota Lexus buff and you really like the brand, the Highlander gives you more space. You can still get ventilated seats. Obviously you won't have as nice of features everywhere. You won't have as big of a screen. You won't have as nice of a stereo. It's not going to be quite as quiet and smooth, but it's still a great option. But if you really want that luxurious experience and comfort, the RX is perfect. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. I am so thankful that you were here. Go ahead and subscribe down below. Support the channel if you like this video. Leave your comments down below. I appreciate you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.